Oh, Jay's excited. Me too. Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Max.
No, we good, man.
Presented by
TNT,
Progressive
man.
Insurance. All
Golden
guests
State.
in the Goodyear Hotline.
Let's go.
Got a ton of guests in studio with us today, guys. Tim Legler, Stephen A., Dan Graziano, just 30 minutes. All right. LeBron James, 137 years old, and still has an argument that he's the best player in basketball.
He's no longer the best player in basketball.
No, he has
he has an argument, Jay.
I'm just stating.
You see how I jumped in real quick?
Yes.
Don't be talking negative, Jay.
I'm not talking negative.
Here's the difference.
Right.
Not long ago, LeBron James was the undisputed king. Now the title is in dispute. I wouldn't say anyone claimed it. I would say a couple dudes have a claim to it, and they need to work this out. LeBron, KD, and you might argue Giannis based on what he did in the finals, even if you think he's a little quarter step behind.
I would have KD and Giannis above LeBron.
Okay,
right now.
But put it this
at
way:
37 years old, that's
you can suspect that, but you can't prove it yet. We got to see what happens this season, right? Would you say that? Okay. LeBron James, at the age of 37, on what keeps him motivated?
Motivated to have an opportunity to win a championship. That's why I play the game. It's one of the greatest, shortest feelings that you have. You win a championship and everything that you've put into that year just hits you all at once. And literally like a couple hours later, it's like, it's over. And you just, your whole time, you're just trying to figure out how can you get that moment again.
So he's chasing that, chasing the dragon, man. He's chasing that. He's chasing that high.
I don't like him right now, no, because he's wearing number 6. I don't like that, man. Go back to 23. He just was colder than me in 23. 6 don't look. I'm just used to seeing that 23 on him. Jay, he's older, 37 years old, and if he can continue to stay healthy, I think he's going to lead the Lakers to another championship.
LeBron James could win a championship, but this year will depend upon if Frank Vogel can truly coach his team differently than he has had to coach teams in the past. Like, people will say X factor is Russell Westbrook, or you added 11 new players to this roster. We want to change the dynamic of this roster to be more offensively driven, even though there's a lot of questions about this team defensively this year. But scheme-wise, how will Frank Vogel make it work? Because during a regular season, if they stay healthy, I don't think you're going to see a lot of problems. I think LeBron James will probably still play around 34 minutes per game, career low like he did last year. A lot of great additions. You'll see the ball in the hands of Russell Westbrook more. But when you get to the playoffs, that's what I care about for the Lakers. Are they healthy, number one? And number two, what does the offense look like? Will LeBron James have to play more off the ball and be more of a catch-and-shoot type player, which I think takes away from a lot of his strengths? Because when you play Russell Westbrook and him together, that provides some challenges for a team when the court shrinks and you're forced to make more shots from the outside.
Well, it's funny. You bring up 34 minutes a game. Here's a quote from LeBron about how he won't shield his body from injury at this age. Quote, "I don't play the game thinking about injuries. And also, and this is interesting, I think, I feel worse when I play low minutes." He feels worse, Jay, when he plays low minutes. Does that mean anything to you?
I would think, Jay, it's because his body is accustomed to a certain time. And when you only giving yourself, 20 minutes in a game versus the, 30 minutes in a game, it's like you just feel different. You're used to going
colder.
You're used to going full tilt. And then in terms of injuries in the Lakers or LeBron James, let's just be clear. His injury last year was not due to soft tissue. Somebody fell on his ankle. It's a big difference in terms of soft tissue injury versus somebody falling on you and you getting injured. It's not like the dude is just injury prone. It's just the last couple years, somebody's fell on him, something happened here, and that's pretty much it. He's not missing games every 2 weeks because of injuries.
Think about the last 2 years, though, right? So if you're LeBron James, Key, you and I talk about this all the time, the older you get, how does your body adjust, right? Your body likes continuity. Like, think about it. I like to wake up every day. You have your same routine. You get into that. The last 2 years, though, we've had a stoppage in the season. We've had layoffs. Then we got into the bubble. Then in October, we came back. We started the season again in December. Then it went into the summer, right? Then you had injuries. Then Like,
And there's
so-
a different intensity playing NBA basketball than training or doing anything else. The intensity is different.
Season ended in July, even though they had an early exit for the Lakers, but yeah, injuries to LeBron James and AD, and then all of a sudden the season came back in October again.
Jay, do you think that, just talking about the Lakers, do you think the Lakers will learn, meaning as a staff and the players as a holdovers, learn from the mistake of where we're seated doesn't matter based on last year? Remember how the Lakers, all they need to do is get in the tournament. How did that work out for us?
Yeah, I don't think it's about seeding as much as I think about how healthy you are. And also, I go back to Frank Vogel because
But
I think
about it though, we had to play that playing game.
True.
And then,
Well, that's
But you weren't
they're
healthy.
not expecting
You
to
weren't
be
fully healthy,
in a
though.
playing game.
but it was, remember what everything was saying, with not including myself. Oh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
You
But
would have
then-
been fine, Key. The problem was AD got hurt, right? Like they were going to beat the Suns, and it was pretty clear they were going to when they went to Phoenix and did it, right? Then they got hurt, and then Phoenix beat them. But if you want to argue they get hurt, they're more prone to injury because the schedule was condensed. I think that's another conversation.
But see, that's not. But see, again, when you talk about it, Jay, and you talk about the schedule, Max, and it's being condensed, those people fell on LeBron. It had nothing. So if you all
about AD?
But you're talking about AD. You're talking about AD. You're talking about Dennis Schroeder didn't show up last year.
Yeah, he didn't show up. Well, that's why he's not on the team. Magic Johnson was on our show talking about Dennis Schroeder being out of there because he wasn't living up to expectations. But Jay, when you look at it though, who are the challengers in the West for the Lakers?
I mean, I think you got a lot of challenge. I think Utah will be right there in that conversation like they were last year. They finished with the league's best record. I think Phoenix will be there.
Golden State's
Golden
getting
State,
healthy.
depending upon when Klay Thompson comes back and he participates. Look, I think the West will have challengers. I think the Lakers are the best team in the West. Think about the depth they added. Malik Monk, Wayne Ellington, you have Tellen Horton-Tucker, Trevor Ariza, Carmelo Anthony. I mean, the names go on and on and on about what they have from a depth perspective. But Avery Bradley to sign for defensive ability. But I will say this. So I go into coaching one last time. If there's one person on that roster that LeBron James looked to each and every game because of these offensive genius, it was Jason Kidd. So Frank Vogel's known for his defensive genius.
Yeah.
They're going to have challenges because they gotten bigger. It's not going to be the same defensive team as it was last year. Losing Jason Kidd, I think, is a big loss for this team.
How many times is you said Trevor Ariza? How many times does Trevor Ariza play for the Lakers?
It's got to be, what is this, 3?
Is this 3? This is his third trip.
Rondo comes back. Dwight Howard comes
This is
back.
Dwight Howard third trip too, huh?
Yes.
You know, I'll say this,
That's
though,
so funny.
about
Trevor Ariza. Jeez.
LeBron and Westbrook, because this is when people talk about the way things fit, and that's the first thing you talked about, Jay. If you look at LeBron throughout his career, he'll start slower than he'll finish because he's trying to figure out how it's all going to work, how to lead a group of guys to the promised land. Westbrook, there's so much Westbrook slander in the first half of the